Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. For today's preview, as Wales welcome Scotland this weekend in the first clash of the second round of the 2022 Six Nations. Scotland looking to try and go back-to-back victories. Wales trying to get their first win of the tournament after they got completely outplayed by Ireland last week. For Scotland, they had to come from behind and beat England in what was a very historic Calcutta Cup victory. And a couple of, well, in fact, many changes made by Greg Townsend, a couple of changes for the Welsh as well. Should be an interesting fixture, Scotland, everybody keeps asking, especially on the back of last week, can they go all the way? Can they go and win a Six Nations? Now, it's a long way to go, but England will probably walk into this tournament as favourites and Scotland beat them. So if they were to go and beat Wales as well, they'd be sitting there going, you know what, we could be one win away from actually competing for this tournament. And you look at last season, Scotland had results. They had performances. They didn't necessarily always have the results, but they came so close on a number of times to almost being able to get over the line and not quite being able to do it. So maybe this finally is the year. They currently sit 1 point behind France and Ireland, but at least one of them will be dropping points this weekend. So it's a massive opportunity for Scotland to try and find themselves near the top of the log. Before we look at the sides, please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. We'll start with the home side, which is Wales. So if we're looking at over here, a couple of changes, and all in the back row, really. So if we're looking at the same tight five, but we are going to see Moriarty in, and we are seeing Morgan in as well. Jack Morgan is on test debut, which would be quite exciting. So in terms of the Welsh side, this is how they will line up. In the front row, we're going to have Wyn Jones, Ryan Ellis, and Thomas Francis, the same front row as against Ireland last weekend, and it's the same second row in Will Rowlands and Adam Beard as well. Very much Adam Beard sort of the next generation, he's sort of replacing that Wyn Jones. He's a difficult man to replace, but he's a very talented player. He's really good. He got that British and Irish Lion cap last year. Taine Basham, who looks so comfortable in international rugby, just playing some brilliant rugby at the moment, is joined by Jack Morgan and Ross Moriarty at eighth man. It's amazing how Wales, a little bit like South Africa in many ways, just managed to produce good loose forwards. Because you think of the amount of people who are missing. No Tipuric, no Navidi. No Tafalatau, and yet you still got some very good loose forwards in and around this side. The halfback combination will be Thomas Williams and Dan Biggar. Dan Biggar needs to stand up, doesn't he? He's the senior player in that Welsh back line. He's the captain of the side, and he needs to really turn it on. And he's going to need a lot of support. He can't do it himself. The likes of Louis Rees-Zammit, Liam Williams, or your players you really think are sort of that next level. They've also got to come to the party. Louis Rees-Zammit starting in number 11 jersey, and Alex Cuthbert on the 14. The center combination for the Welsh is Nick Tompkins, who is joined by Owen Watkin, and then Liam Williams at full back. Dan Biggar and Jonathan Davies are both making their 100th test debut this weekend, which is very exciting for both of them, and always good to see players like that go on to make 100 tests, because it's a remarkable feat for any player to do, and you have to be within the best of the best. Especially like Jonathan Davies, who I think probably should have played a lot more games. It's fantastic to see that he will get to that 100 mark. Off the bench for the Welsh, Dewey Lake, Gareth Thomas, and Dylan Lewis will be the front row. You then got Tim Davies and Wainwright drops down to the bench. Gareth Davies will be coming off the bench, providing a lot of experience, along with Callum Sheedy, and then Jonathan Davies. What an incredible player he's been, what an incredible career he's had. And hopefully we get to see some of the best of him in his 100th game this weekend. For the Scots, a couple of changes, including an all-new front row. After they came on and really impressed against England. The likes of Piers Tooman, Stuart McAnally, and VFN Nell will start the game. Johnny Gray, Grant Gilchrist will continue their partnership, and I thought Grant Gilchrist was fantastic when it came to lineouts last weekend. I really thought that he looked like a world-class line operator. Sam Skinner is into the loose trio, and he's alongside Hamish Watson and Matt Ferguson, who was man of the match last weekend against England. The halfback combination of Andy Price and Finn Russell will continue. There's a new inside centre in Siano Tupolatu, no Sam Johnson this weekend, but the wings will be doing Fanamova. Darcy Graham, I thought, was electric last weekend. In fact, could very well have been in the conversation for man of the match. Stuart Hogg, and then you've got Chris Harris at outside centre, probably one of the best defensive outside centres in the world. Off the bench, it's the starting front row from last weekend of George Turner, Rory Sutherland, and Xander Ferguson, Magnus Bradbury, and Rory Darge. Good to see Rory Darge getting an opportunity this weekend. And, he's been playing so well in the URC that he's just been knocking down the door. So for him to get his test debut this weekend, should be a really exciting one to watch. I think that he's got quite an exciting future ahead of him. Ben White was terrific last weekend, as joined by Kinghorn and Cameron Redpath to complete the bench. In theory, you've got to go with Scotland because of the way they played last weekend. They're coming off a win against England. However, Wales are at home and they'll want to bounce back. And they've got good players. For all that a lot of Welsh fans are despairing, I look at that side. It's not a bad Welsh side. It could get a lot better with a lot of the injuries that could come back. But it's not a bad Welsh side by any means. And I think that it all comes down to which team actually pitches up. I wouldn't say that either of these sides, for example, Scotland probably going in as favourites, I wouldn't say Scotland are currently good enough to play badly and still win. There are teams that can do that. They can rock up, maybe not necessarily be clinical enough, and maybe not be accurate enough on the day, but still have enough class to be able to get past the opposition. I don't think that's the case in this match. I think that whichever side wins will have to win it and will have to earn it and will have to play well to get the result. But let me know what your score predictions are down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stephen, and I'll chat to you soon.